Jessica, now, as Jessica alluded to, their protests against China's strict zero COVID policies resurfaced in Shanghai on Sunday, continuing a round of demonstrations that have spread across the country since a deadly apartment fire in a northwestern area led to questions over such rigid anti-virus measures. Now, since Friday, people have been holding protests across China where street demonstrations are extremely rare. But anger and frustration have flared over the deaths from the fire in an apartment building in Urumqi that the public believes was caused by excessive lockdown measures that delayed rescue. In the dark early hours of Sunday, standing on the road named after the city in Xinjiang, where at least 10 people had just died in the apartment fire, protesters had chanted. Hundreds of protesters gathered along the street in Shanghai starting around midnight on Saturday. Meanwhile, in Beijing, protesters held a peaceful demonstration on Sunday evening for a third day over China's strict anti-virus measures. The protests, which began on Friday and have spread to at least 8 Chinese cities, including Shanghai, are the most widespread show of opposition to the ruling party in decades. 3 years after the virus emerged, China is the only major country still trying to stop transmission of COVID-19. Its zero COVID strategy has suspended access to neighborhoods for weeks at a time. Some cities carry out daily virus tests on millions of residents. Meanwhile, a Maryland-based professor said on Monday that the latest protests in China had challenged the central authorities, saying these are unlike the demonstrations in recent decades that mainly targeted local officials. Now, Professor of Political Economy Ho Fung-hong said that this round of protests in China was surprising.
It's surprising in the sense that compared to protests in China in the 1990s and 2000s, and we see a lot of protests, but many of these protests restrain themselves by targeting local officials and trying to express their loyalty to the center. But this time you see slogans, chanting like Xi Jinping step down, and even some call for freedom of expression. And so all the signs is pointing to the fact that this kind of stability and equilibrium based on this deal between the party and the people about that ground on economic prosperity, and the party is prioritizing economic growth is over. And now that the whole political environment and the whole situation is reflecting that the party and the people are trying to seek a new equilibrium, and there will be some instability in the